Abduction, Chapter 10, Part 3. What was it? I asked. It was a creature standing and looking at Taya and myself. He had no mouth to speak, but I heard him in my head, replied Bogdan. You heard him? Cried Echo. I thought I did. It was more like a clicking noise, and there was nothing in the house that could make that same noise. I tried to envision what Bogdan and Taya had experienced. The vision of the dead alien pilots I had seen filled my thoughts. It was a horrifying scene. Did you remember anything else about how the alien looked? Bogdan paused. By appearances, he was reluctant to try and remember. I was sure that the others had asked him to recall what the aliens looked like. He must have refused because of the pain it must have caused. The look of being lost filled his eyes as he looked toward his wife for assistance. I remember, said Taya, with a soft voice. She looked toward Echo when she spoke. The creature was gray and had no mouth or nose. His eyes were huge and all black. I found myself edging to the edge of my seat. I was reliving what I experienced and wanted to hear more as a shiver trilled down my back. What happened next? I saw Taya being lifted off the floor and transported out of the window, muttered Bogdan. I grabbed hold of her legs, or thought I did. All I remember was I had no control of my body. Then I, too, was being lifted out the window. Next I knew, we were on board the alien ship. It was an incredible tale, and it gave me the creeps. I looked at my hands, and both were balled fists. Echo held the same position as I, so I reached over and touched her hand to reassure her. Echo exhaled and gave me a tight-lipped smile. And then? Whispered Echo. Bogdan took a breath, as if he found courage with the intake of air. I saw Taya strapped to a table, and 3 aliens surrounded her. I asked the one next to me what were you about to do. I thought this. I did not speak, and the alien answered in my mind. He said that they would take tissue samples from her, and do not worry. I did not believe and tried to go to Taya's side, but I was held in place by something I could not see. I watched Taya's hands begin to shake. I could see in her eyes she was reliving being held captive against her will. My alien experience had only been 6 months prior. The memories always returned as a nightmare. I could only pray that Taya did not have the same hellish dreams that I have. Taya seemed to be putting up a brave face, but I wonder what she was like when she did not have Bogdan around to be her rock. I was on the table, said the shaky Taya. When I looked down, my shirt was open. One of the aliens held some sort of instrument over my stomach. I became terrified. Then in my head, I heard one of them saying to not be afraid. It will not hurt. Then they started cutting me open. I wanted to scream. When I looked again, I saw the insides, but the voice in my head said to be calm. What were you thinking, Bogdan? I injected. I was scared too, said Bogdan. I wanted to run to Taya and help her, to stop the craziness. When I saw they had cut her open, I became afraid that they had hurt her, but the voice said not to worry. I looked over at the alien next to me, and he had no expression. When I looked back to Taya, they had closed where they had cut her, and there was no scar. It was like it never happened. Did he do any experiments on you? Asked Echo. Bogdan nodded. They did 2 experiments. What did he do? Asked Echo. First, he took a sample of my hair. The alien next to me cut off some of it, and then a sample of my skin. Bogdan pointed to his left forearm. The next experiment was more of a test. A test? What sort of test? I asked. They wanted me to have sex with one of them, said Bogdan. What? Said an aghast Echo. Bogdan nodded. They brought forth a lovely woman, the kind I like, but I knew it was one of them. Did you? Asked Echo. Bogdan shook his head. I could not. I love my wife. I would not. I exhaled, not realizing that I was holding my breath. I heard pure horror and believed that what happened to Bogdan and Taya could have happened to Echo and myself without a doubt. We survived, and so did this couple. Thank you for sharing your story, I said. Echo and I believe you totally. We have our own story as well, and just as frightening. Echo nodded an affirmation. Did they say anything about returning? Bogdan and Taya exchanged glances. Da, they said they would come for us again, said Bogdan.